Hello and welcome to the Daily Ramble here on Claret and Booze. My name's Gary and I've got a lot of transfer news to share with you today. Also, I want to share with you right at the end, because there's a ton to talk about, but right at the end, I want to share with you a little story of what happened when Steiten at Leverkusen fired their old boss and hired a new one 8 games into the new season. So here's hoping. Anyway, let's move on to the transfer news. First up, Lucas Paqueta, a new bid of... It looks like all of the stories about the 88 million bid were false. They've only made one bid. It was for 77 or 75. Man City are preparing a new bid, thought to be 80 million. And it is thought that West Ham will accept anything over 80. And I think, you know, it'd be nice to... Look, just get it done. We know he's going. Get it done. But one thing's for sure. Jesse Lingard is not going to be his replacement, you know, and I think Nick covered that in enough depth yesterday. I'll tell you who would be a great replacement, though, would be Brennan Johnson from Nottingham Forest. And we are being linked with him, 45 million quid. Now, that might strike you as quite pricey, but when you consider he's 22 years old, he's only played a season in the Premiership, to be fair, but he's scored 24 goals in 88 games for Forest, 10 in 40 when he was on loan to Lincoln. He's a Welsh international with 20 caps. He's been at Forest since he was 8, joining from Dunkirk. He got 8 goals, but plenty of assists, I don't know the number, in the Premier League last year. But get this. This is where it gets sexy. He is the top ball carrier in the Premier League from last season. Assists as well, perfect for a counter-attack, very, very fast, tends to pick up the ball in his own half, and he can push like 40, 50 metres by himself. He's also Nottingham Forest's fastest player. Work this out, I don't do kilometres, but 36.7 kilometres per hour. Now that's sounds pretty fast, doesn't it? He's an attacking midfielder or a right winger. Now this, if you're going to play counter-attack, this is the kind of player we want, right? Because this is the only thing, pace is the only thing that makes counter-attack a counter-attack, right? I don't mind counter-attacking football. It's not my favourite choice of football, but if you're going to play it, do it properly. So that's all right. Now, talking of pace or lack thereof, Harry Maguire is now likely going to Villa, and I'm quite pleased about that because I think it's been covered to death on various channels and really well as well. You know, I heard Gonzo on Hammers Chat saying that, you know, we want players like James Ward-Prowse who want to join us. They want to join West Ham. They don't see it as a step down. They don't feel they're bigger than the club. Because, frankly, that's just insulting. You know, someone like Harry Maguire, he's lucked out and found himself playing for Man U. Hasn't done very well for Man U, but inside his head, that's the kind of profile that he thinks, it's the kind of company he thinks he belongs in now. Well, no, we've got news for you, Harry. No. If he joins, I'll learn to love him, right? I'll slab it. But it doesn't look like he's going to, especially with Tyrone Mings being injured long term. Villa need to bring in a centre-half, and let's just hope that centre-half is the very, very slow, huge-headed Harry Maguire. We apparently have switched our attention to Leverkusen's Odilon Kosunu. Easy for you to say. Age 22, one of the fastest defenders in Europe. Now, you might understand this because his top speed is 20.46 miles per hour. Available for a bargain of 35 million quid. Now, again, if you're gonna play a progressive type of football, and you're not going to just sit back and soak it up with very, very slow players, pace is everything. Pace is everything, and having a fast defender, I think, is a great thing. Him alongside Aguerd. Aguerd is, I don't know what side player he is, whether he's left or right, but him playing alongside Aguerd, that would give us 2 of the fastest centre-halves. He's also a ball player as well. So it takes me on to ask the question, is David Moyes getting any of his targets? Interesting one, really, because Ward-Prowse, he's apparently a Sullivan pick, right? Similar to Ben Rama. We all know Ben Rama was a Sullivan pick, don't we? And that's why he couldn't get into the team as a regular for quite some time until Moyes learned to love him. So I don't think that's actually we believe here at Claret and Booze that Moyes wanted McTominay and not James Ward-Prowse. So Nick was joking with me the other day about how James Ward-Prowse might find himself out on the left wing, which is where players go to die in our team. After hearing this, he might not be too far out, right? So that looks like a Sullivan, and probably starting to agree to it as well. You know, this voting system we've got, probably Noble as well, so maybe 3 out of 4. Alvarez, we know, is a starting pick and a Noble pick, right? So again, I find it difficult with all the stuff that's coming out of Moyes at the moment. I wonder whether he's going to actually play Alvarez at all, or give a load of excuses he ain't ready for the Premier League yet. Because as we know, every single person that David Moyes either works with or brings in as a football signing, they need to have Premier League experience. That is the new rule as of this year, according to David Moyes. And we know, so JWP, Alvarez, and now Maguire, which was definitely a David Moyes pick, looks like it's falling through. And it looks like, even though Moyes was prepared to pull down the pants of West Ham, it looks like probably Sullivan and Steiten were not. You shouldn't pay. Just because a player demands a huge payoff, it don't mean you have to give it to him. And you know, the rumour was he was promised the captaincy and everything. Now, if you're promising someone the captaincy and they're still not interested in coming, probably time to walk away. That's what I'd say. The word on the street as well is that the new coaches in the Moyes orbit will be probably Henry Newman, me neither, former Barnet coach or manager for 1 year, which means he probably wasn't that good, I'm guessing. And so it'll be him and an ex-Getafe coach. And this could be one of 3. It could be Alberto Giraldez, David Cubillo, or Antonio Diaz. Me neither. None of them, including Henry Newman, have Premier League experience. So it seems fine that he can play the Premier League experience card, apart from if he's going to hire coaches. Now, what I'm guessing here is he got a little bit bitten, David Moyes, by hiring, you know, basically other managers with lots of management experiences in like Warburton, Pearce, people like that. And I'm guessing they probably had something to say for themselves. And that probably rubbed David Moyes up the wrong way, because as we know, he is the all-seeing eye. He knows everything. So he's probably going the other way now and bringing in people who would be grateful to work with him as the Illuminous one. You know, they're not going to challenge him like some of the experienced coaches might have done. Just a hunch. Either that, or we're paying peanuts and these are the only ones available. Could be that. So regards just quickly on Lingard. I mean, once the anger subsided, because my reaction was pretty much the same, albeit not as colourfully lit up as what Nick said. I've sort of thought about it. The anger's passed, and now I'm on to pragmatism, right? And if we were to sign Lingard, I don't want it, but if we were to sign him, what Lingard would we get? Would it be the hungry one? You know, the one that came to us the first time? Would it be the fit one? Apparently he's quite naturally fit, but he's keeping up his fitness by training with us. Or would it be the one who just wants to rebuild his brand before moving on somewhere else? So what I would suggest is this. It's a happy middle ground that Jesse Lingard and his team of cronies probably wouldn't agree to anyway, and that is, Jesse, if you know, I'm not guaranteeing you a start because we're bringing other players in. 3-month deal, taking you up to Christmas with a unilateral, as in only us can decide whether we want to keep you till the summer or not, right? That way, old Jesse Lingard has to do quite well in the first 3 months in order to get the second 3 months, or to improve his brand value, his brand recognition. You know, brand is everything to him, right? That I think would probably be a win-win. But if it's going to be a case of David Moyes bringing in one of his favourites and starting him and giving him a free role no matter what he's playing like, which is what he does to players that he likes, yeah, then I'm not keen on it. Also news today that Fabianski is very, very unhappy with the way he's been treated. Been treated terribly by all accounts. Now, and this is just yet another failing of David Moyes in that his man management is abysmal. It's abysmal. And we've heard it not from one player, but from several players now. Now, this is coming from a very, very senior pro who until last season was David Moyes' choice of goalkeeper. But it seems like the transition to Areola has not been managed very well. It's been a case of no warning, no sitting him down and explaining the situation. It sounds like he just found himself not in the team sheet. He found Areola on the team sheet. And Fabianski, understandably, has reacted quite badly to that because it's shoddy. David Moyes seems to focus on all of the players in his first team, a very small group. The others can go themselves, right? And that includes Aaron Creswell, who apparently, before the final, he was expecting to play in the final a few months ago. Now, I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad Moyes chose Emerson because he played very well. And I think Creswell would have got murdered. But nonetheless, Creswell flew all his family over there expecting to play. And the first he heard about it was when the team sheet went up and he weren't in it. Now, those two examples of Fabianski and Creswell, senior professionals who have given us a fair few years of service between them, treating them in that way just because they're no longer a first team regular is the height of shoddiness. You've got to be respectful for people. You've got to manage people properly. You know, people manager, the clue's in the name, right? As a football manager, you're also a people manager. Yeah, don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me at all. And I just wonder at the moment whether Alvarez is getting the cold shoulder. I wonder if he's had a decent discussion with Moyes. I wonder if ward-prowse has had a decent discussion with Moyes. Who knows? Who knows? It's very weird. On Creswell, the deal is still not done. Look, they're offering $2 million. Sean Whetstone the other night said, it wasn't a fee, it was made up of milestones payments. Well, so what? Let him go. He's been here 9 years. Don't make the bloke go under a cloud. Don't insult him. Let him go. Let him get his 3-year deal, for Christ's sake. Talking of outbounds, Flynn Downs, he couldn't complete his move to his medical for Southampton because he's ill. And so they've rescheduled it. But he's still expected to join there soon. And I think that'll be good for him. He won't see Moyes again, as I touched on in the last video. What a great thought, eh? So, talking of Moyes and talking of Stuyton, I want to bring to your attention how Stuyton operates. And now, this might take you as a West Ham fan, and me as a West Ham fan, not to mention Sullivan, a bit of getting used to. So, again, what Sean said the other night was that Stuyton would be choosing the next manager, which is the right thing to do. But I'll believe it when I see it. Anyway, going back to his time at Leverkusen, he left in March last year. Now, if you roll back to the season before, there was a guy in charge there, I forget his name, but anyway, he got them into the Champions League. They finished third. Played really well, finished third. The following season, 8 games into the new season, Leverkusen hired Xabi Alonso and fired the old guard as head coach. The team was sitting second from bottom of the league. They won, out of their first 8 games, they won 1, drew 1 and lost 5. Now, if you look at our fixtures, that could be quite similar to what we do. They'd also lost their opening 3 games, and the decision was made finally after a humiliating 4-0 away defeat to Bayern Munich. The previous coach was Gerardo Sione. You know, you imagine a manager gets us into the Champions League and then 8 games into the following season is fired, right? A lot of people would be screaming about that, but that is the job of a technical director director of football, to make those difficult decisions and bring a better option in. Don't let the rot set in. Address it. Be proactive. And that is what he did. He pulled Xabi Alonso out of nowhere, right? He wasn't a recognised manager. Brought him in. He did fantastic, right? He took him second from bottom to finishing 6th. And I think they got quarterfinals of the Europa League as well after his predecessor pretty much put the Champions League campaign underwater, you know, losing 2 out of 3. So what I'm saying is, he decided, Stuyton, that something was badly broken. Now, he can see into, the players, the dressing room, the motivation, what's going wrong. He could see it, but he acted swiftly to remediate it, and he fixed it. He fixed it. Absolutely fantastic. For the rest of that season, by the way, finishing 6th, they only lost another 7 games. They drew 6 and they won 13 of their remaining 26 games. So that has got to go down as an absolutely blinding decision. But my question for you is, would you back that decision? I would, because I love the idea that someone's being proactive and addresses a problem when it exists, right? Would you? Secondly, would Sullivan? Because we're witnessing a season now where Moyes is simply running down his contract. Now, if I know under Stuyton we'd be hiring a first-team coach, and there'd probably be, rather than a manager, so there'd probably be some performance metrics in there and all that sort of stuff, and it probably wouldn't be as expensive to get rid of them, etc. But would David Sullivan insist on keeping whatever coach it was until we're in a position where it looks like we're definitely getting relegated? Because my assumption is that's exactly what he would do. But under a director of football system, he cannot do that. It is all or nothing. You can't half do it, pretty much like we've done this year. All right? Be really interested to read your opinions on this, because that, for many people, it would be a huge culture shock. It's like when Ranieri got fired after winning the Premier League, right? So anyway, that is me done. I hope you've enjoyed this ramble. If you have, please subscribe to our channel. Our channel, Claret and Booze, here on YouTube. You can also become a member if you like. Nick introduced that the other day. All of our content's still free, but it's just, it's just if you've got the means, support the channel. If not, that's fine, right? And give us a like and hit the bell notification icon. Until next time, this is going to be a fast news week. Plenty of rambles. See you soon, and come on, you irons.